When was the last time you checked your IRS account transcripts? If you're like most business owners, the answer is probably never or what's an IRS transcript? And that's exactly why I'm making this video. I'm Andrew Bosserman, a tax controversy attorney and former IRS agent. Today, I want to talk to you about something that could literally save your business thousands of dollars and countless headaches. And those are regular IRS compliance checkups. By the end of our time together, you'll understand why regular tax account checkups are absolutely essential for every business owner and how they can help you catch issues before they become expensive IRS problems. Here's the reality that I've seen most business owners face. The IRS doesn't send you friendly reminders when there's something wrong with your account. Instead, they send notices with penalties already attached, assuming you're guilty and qualify for the penalties, and those penalties can quickly snowball. So let me share a real client story that illustrates just how serious this can get. So I had a client, let's call him John, who owned a regional distribution company with about 35 employees. John had been working with the same bookkeeping service for close to a decade and trusted them completely. What John didn't know was that the person handling his account was dealing with serious personal issues and started falling behind on John's quarterly payroll tax filings and payments. For almost 3 years, yes, 3 whole years, penalties were accumulating on John's account. The bookkeeping service kept assuring him everything was fine during the regular meetings, and John had no idea anything was wrong until he switched to a new bookkeeping firm that discovered over $100,000 in penalties and interest. This is an extreme example, but I see smaller versions of this story play out every single day. The common thread? Business owners who didn't know what was happening with their IRS accounts until it was too late. So what exactly is an IRS transcript? The easiest way to think about them is that it's your tax history according to the IRS, like a bank statement. It's an official record of everything the IRS knows about your tax situation. There are several types of transcripts you can get, but for business owners, the most important are account transcripts, and these show all transactions on your IRS account, including return filings, payments, penalties. It's essentially your IRS account statement, and like I mentioned before, similar to a bank statement. The second type of transcript is a tax return transcript. These provide most of the line items from your processed tax returns, which can be crucial for verifying what the IRS has on file and if they adjusted your return at all. And the final type of transcripts I want to talk about are wage and income transcripts. These show all income reported to the IRS through forms like W-2s and 1099s. What makes these transcripts and documents so valuable is that they show you exactly what the IRS sees when they look at your account. If there's a discrepancy between what you think is happening with your taxes and what the IRS has on record, these transcripts usually reveal it. Let me reiterate this again, is that regular IRS compliance checkups aren't just for businesses with tax problems. They are the first thing I generally do whenever I start investigating a new client who comes to me with a tax problem. But they're also a preventive measure that every business should take, just like regular health checkups with your doctor or vehicle maintenance. Here's why. So first, they help you catch issues before the IRS does. When you identify potential problems early, you can address them proactively, often avoiding penalties altogether, or you're able to get them reduced. Second, they ensure all your filings are up to date. Missing returns often trigger automatic notices and assessments from the IRS, including penalties, which often results in you owing much more than your actual underlying tax liability. Third, they'll protect your business from IRS collections. So tax liens and levies can devastate your business operations, but regular checkups help ensure that you never reach that point because the IRS doesn't take drastic collection action until your taxes have been unpaid, generally for a substantial amount of time. Fourth, they can help you save substantial money on interest and penalties. The IRS charges both interest and penalties on unpaid taxes, and these can compound quickly. Finding and fixing issues early minimizes these costs. And finally, It just gives you peace of mind. As a business owner, you have enough to worry about without the constant fear of an IRS notice arriving in your mailbox for some tax issue you weren't even aware of. So what does a proper IRS compliance checkup involve? So at Boss Tax Law, our process includes number one, an IRS account review. So we analyze your IRS records to confirm all filings and payments have been properly recorded. We'll pull and review your transcripts for all relevant tax years. After that, we'll also do a penalty and interest review. So we check for any penalties or interest charges and explore potential relief or abatement options. Many business owners don't realize that certain penalties can be removed through proper requests. Third, we'll do a notice and collection status check. So we'll determine if you're at risk of enforcement actions like liens or levies and take steps to prevent them if necessary. And then finally, we'll give you a personalized summary and next steps. I call this the Boss Tax Law Strategy Blueprint. So we provide a clear report on your current IRS standing along with specific recommendations for addressing any issues we find. So this entire process is inexpensive compared to the thousands of dollars and countless sleepless nights you could have if issues are later discovered. Let's go back to that story I was talking about earlier. After discovering those substantial payroll tax penalties that John had, his new accounting firm reached out to me for help. So here's what we did. First, I pulled all of John's IRS transcripts to get the complete picture of his business payroll situation. We found that not only had several quarterly returns been filed late, but payments had been inconsistent and sometimes incomplete. So next, we filed formal claims for abatement and refund of the penalties based on reasonable cause. When the IRS initially rejected our claims, I didn't give up. It's pretty standard for them to reject claims. We filed formal appeals and scheduled a meeting with an IRS appeals officer. I brought John and his new accountant to that meeting. We explained the circumstances of his case and how he'd been actively misled about his tax compliance status. The appeals officer was convinced by our documentation and recommended full penalty abatement for several quarters. In the end, John received a significant reduction in penalties, saving tens of thousands of dollars that went directly back into growing his business instead of paying unnecessary penalties to the IRS. All of this was possible because we had access to his complete IRS transcripts and could make a compelling case based on the facts. So, who should get an IRS compliance checkup? In short, every business owner should get one at least annually, but it's especially important if you want to ensure if you're compliant with the IRS, which should be all business owners watching this. You've received an IRS notice or want to prevent one. Your business has experienced cash flow issues that might have affected tax payments. You're expanding your business or made major tax changes recently. You've switched accountants or tax preparers, or you're preparing to apply for financing or just getting around to selling your business. As you can see, a IRS compliance checkup applies to business owners in many different situations, but is extremely critical if you might be had major changes, might be selling your business. You definitely want to make sure everything is squared away for a new owner. So if what I've shared today resonates with you, I strongly encourage you to schedule an IRS compliance checkup for your business. This type of preventive maintenance is one of the smartest investments you can make in your company's financial health and your own peace of mind. At Boss Tax Law, we specialize in helping business owners understand exactly where they stand with the IRS and addressing any issues before they become serious problems. So, to learn more about our IRS compliance checkup service or to schedule a consultation, please schedule using the links in the YouTube video description. There'll be phone numbers, emails, links to my website. Feel free to check out more information there and schedule if you're interested. But don't wait until you receive an IRS notice to take action. By then, you're already playing defense. The best way to go about this is to be proactive about your tax compliance and give yourself the peace of mind that comes from knowing exactly where you stand with the IRS. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon.